Hi guys and welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name's Ailey, thanks for watching. Today's video I'm gonna go through a little bit of how to prep dry skin for the perfect foundation application. Now, this may not work for everyone, obviously nothing ever does, but this is just what I do. Kind of some of the steps I do all the time and some of the steps I only do if I'm gonna be wearing a kind of more high coverage foundation or my skin is feeling really particularly dry. If you're having problems with foundation application and stuff like that, it may not be the products that are at fault. Sometimes it is, and I will be doing a video on kind of how to shop savvy for your makeup, kind of going with what you need to spend money on and what you don't necessarily need to spend money on. So keep an eye out for that anyway. But this video is all about the prep that you need to put into your skin. Now, just for reference, my skin is very dry, but I do get breakouts. As women, hormones play a massive part in it. Obviously, you know, you can get hormonal breakouts, and I tend to get them sort of along my jawline and stuff like that. That can't be helped, but obviously using skincare and stuff like that to combat that can make your skin even drier. So some of these tips will really help hydrate your skin, help the foundation application go a hell of a lot more smoothly, because if you're anything like me, you've probably bought heaps and heaps of foundations and lots of them haven't worked, and it's probably not the foundation's fault. It could just be that you needed to put a little bit more prep into it. So let's just get started. So to begin with, obviously, if I'm waking up in the morning or if I'm getting ready to go out at night or if I'm just applying makeup for, you know, whatever reason, I'll always start with a clean, fresh face. Now, that is where it begins. Really, if I'm going to be doing something quite important the next day, like a wedding or something like that, then obviously the prep will start the night before. And what I tend to do is, and this is my first recommendation, is if you do need to wear a high coverage foundation, if you need to wear it all day, or then use a really nice hydrating mask the night before. If you're going out that evening, you could do it for a couple of hours before, you know, you're going to be doing your makeup or anything like that. So that is a really good tip as well. It just pumps a load of hydration into your skin and it'll kind of help start off the whole process. For just kind of your regular normal days or whatever, I always wash my face with my cleanser, and what I'll do is I'll use my Clarisonic. So obviously normally I'd be doing all of this in my bathroom because it is much easier and it's a lot less messy, but I do have a bowl of water here, so I'm going to just do it along with you today. And basically all I'll do is I'll dampen my face and I will use my Clarisonic, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. If you don't have a Clarisonic, obviously you don't have to use it, you don't have to go out and buy one or anything like that. Just use a good exfoliator, or you know, you can use a cognac sponge, you can even use like a face cloth, and just make sure that you use it sort of to exfoliate. Really what you want to do is get rid of all the dead skin off your face. I mean, all of it isn't going to come off, but as much as possible is always like really, really good. The thing with the Clarisonic is you will do 20 seconds on your chin and nose, then you'll do 20 seconds on your forehead and 10 seconds on each cheek. Now, I don't use mine like that. I always focus more along my jawline and on my nose and chin because that's where I suffer from most breakouts and things like that. Then I'll probably do 10 seconds on my forehead and 10 on each cheek. But as I say, that's there for a kind of guide, it's there for a reference, that's what they recommend. And I do definitely recommend the Clarisonic. I do think it is really good. I am actually using less and less product on my face, so really that for me is all I do when I wash my face. I don't go in with toners, I don't go in with exfoliators, because really the Clarisonic's already done that for me. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. If you don't have it, I would recommend that you buy it. I'm not saying that you need it, but maybe worth looking at. So after that's done, obviously, you know, our skin is completely dry, it's completely clean. If I was wearing makeup, you know, like if I was going out at night and I was wearing makeup through the day and I wanted to completely start again and take my makeup off, I'd use my Farmacy Green Clean Cleansing Balm and I would take off my makeup with that. I'd use a face cloth and I would take off all the residue of that and then give my face sort of a wee wash. Then I would use my Clarisonic to get rid of any leftover makeup. So after I've done that, if I am prepping for a sort of heavier coverage matte foundation say, I will always do this step. It's not necessary to do it every single day. It is more, I would say monthly. Monthly is probably good enough for this. And you can actually go to a salon and get this done professionally. And if you wanted to do that, it's actually called dermaplaning. And basically it is where you shave your face. Yes, there's probably a million videos on YouTube that is like, this is how I shave my face. Basically, it is a really, really good thing to do if you have dry skin, if you have quite a lot of peach fuzz, if you're wanting your foundation to just go on that much smoother. This works wonders. So I haven't actually done this in probably about 3 or 4 weeks, so I'm gonna just do it with you guys. Basically, all it does is take off all the vellus hairs off your face, and you know, that sort of peach fuzz that you get, and that stops powder and foundation and stuff like that clinging to those hairs, so it will make your application a lot smoother. But it also removes a lot of dead skin that could be left behind after you've cleansed your face or exfoliated or that. So that's another reason that it's quite good for you. But you do have to be quite careful, you know, you don't want to rush it, you don't want to accidentally take an eyebrow off, you know, anything like that. You don't want to cut yourself. So I'm not going to go too in depth about it because it really is quite self-explanatory. I'll just do it and you can watch along. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there is sort of like, it looks like lint when it comes off, but basically it's just all those teeny little hairs on your face. And I tend to go in either sideways or downwards motion, but it's just personal preference. I find if there's any irritation or anything like that, it's just going to be minor redness and then it'll go away. If you find as well that your skin can get quite irritated, what I would recommend is to get some sort of water spray, rose water spray or something like that, and you can actually dampen your face and it will take away a little bit of irritation, because obviously it's kind of like a dry razor on dry skin, so this is what I find helps. Sometimes I'll use my MAC Fix Plus, that works really great as well. After I've done that, basically my face ends up quite red, but I just use my face cloth and get rid of any sort of traces that are left behind. And that doesn't get rid of every single trace of hair on your face, it just gets rid of most of it and it leaves your skin feeling really soft, and then you can move on to your moisturiser and stuff. So I've been using the Clinique All About Eyes serum, and this has got a little sort of roller ball on it, so I just tip it upside down and then roll this underneath my eyes. And it feels really nice because it's really nice and cooling. And then because this is just the way I like to use it, I know a lot of people use this as a primer, but I go in with my Farsali Unicorn Essence, and I basically just take a couple of drops of that on my hands, rub it together and pat it into my skin. And then I go in with my Clinique Moisture Surge Extended Thirst Relief moisturiser, and really you can use any serum you like, any moisturiser you like, but I would always recommend, if you've got dry skin, use a good moisturiser, one that you like to use, that you know that agrees with your skin. An under eye cream is really good because it'll kind of moisturise underneath the eyes so that your concealer will go on really nicely. And I've been really liking the sort of more gel formula moisturisers just because I find that it doesn't leave too much of a residue on your skin. I find with really creamy ones you always sort of get that residue and it can pill up when you're putting on products on top. With primer, I would say let your moisturiser really sink in as much as you can, because you don't want to be rubbing it off, you want it to sink into your skin. So I would say give it a couple of minutes, just let it all sink in, and then pick a really good hydrating primer. Now a hydrating primer will feel more like a moisturiser than it will a primer. It won't be really silicone-y because the silicone's there to absorb the oils or to fill in pores. The one that I really like just now is the Faced HangoverX, and then let that kind of sink into your skin as well, because it's there to hydrate, so it's not just going to be sitting on top of your skin. Then obviously it's time for foundation. Now if you're going to do all these steps, especially the kind of shaving slash exfoliating step with the razor, I would say do it a little while before you do your makeup. That way your skin has got time to calm down after you've done all that. You don't really want to be doing it straight before you do your foundation. But just for the sake of the video, I'm just going to fire on and I'm going to do my foundation because I'm just going to do it anyway. And the foundation I'm using today is the Dior Forever foundation, so yeah. And then for concealer, I'm just using my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer and just concealing anything that I want to conceal as normal. You'll notice as well that I don't tend to take my foundation up underneath my eyes, purely because I'm going to put concealer there anyway, so what is the point in having foundation underneath? It's just applying more product and it's more likely to crease and look cakey. So that's another good tip as well if you've got dry under eyes. The less product you can put under there, the better. So obviously you need a decent setting powder, because if you get a setting powder that's going to completely dry out the makeup underneath it, or if it's going to make it look really cakey, it's just going to ruin everything that you've just prepped and done. So I have two. First powder is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, and the other one, which is a loose powder, is my by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra powder. Both of these powders are amazing. They're both really good for people with dry skin. So I'm just going to do one eye or one side with my by Terry powder and the other with my Charlotte Tilbury powder. And another important step obviously is to set your foundation, or to set your makeup. Now this obviously comes right at the very end when you've set your makeup. So you can actually do this with a primer water or a setting spray. I would recommend doing it with something like Fix Plus or a primer water, or something that doesn't contain alcohol, because you want to kind of at this point just bring the life back into the foundation, because it'll be very flat and it'll be very powdery just now. So I normally just get a spray at this point when I've got my foundation on, because now I will move on to my eyes, and then I'll finish up my entire look with a setting spray at the very end as well. So that is it for my tips on how to prep dry skin for flawless foundation. As you can see, I mean, no foundation's ever going to look completely like skin. I think that is something that I strive for a really, really long time, and obviously that's just, it's never going to happen. But I think that with my skin and how dry it is, and how sort of high coverage this foundation is, and how thick a foundation this one is, this is a really, really flawless application of it. And you can probably see that some things like the redness and things like that are peeking through just slightly, but obviously, like I said, I would give your skin time to sort of settle down before you start your makeup application, after you've done it. Maybe half an hour before you do your makeup. I really, really like all these tips. Obviously, this is just something that I have come to as I've been doing my makeup and as I've experimented and stuff like that, because obviously I really, really did struggle with finding a foundation that would look good on my skin, and I realised that I needed to put more prep into my skin, and then the makeup could do its job a little bit better. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and wrap up this video. Okay, so the rest of my makeup's done, and as you can see, it's looking really nice and smooth. There's no dry patches at all. Like I said, I use this sort of technique anytime I'm going to wear this foundation in particular, or any other sort of high coverage foundation, or just if my skin feels really dry. I'll let you be the judge of what you think anyway. If you think that the foundation looks good, or, you know, let me know in the comments below anyway, but when I'm looking at it in real life, it does look really, really smooth. It just helps make your foundation's life a little bit easier, and a foundation that maybe that you'd given up on and that you thought wasn't a good enough foundation for your skin, or wasn't a good match for your skin, maybe you just needed to put in a little bit more prep work. So if you try out these tips, let me know how you got on in the comments below, and apart from that, I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, and I think that is pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!